Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Wednesday, May the 22nd, and we are here to look at the new releases this week. And on Wednesdays, we look at romance. And there are a lot of them up that I have here, so we will get to them very quickly. Just some quick announcements. No sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesday nights, but we will have sprints tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then again on Saturday afternoon. So Tuesday, Thursday evenings, Saturday afternoons. He says, "Good morning, and everyone. Happy Wednesday. Do I detect romance in the air? Yes, definitely. Yes, you do. We've got love in the air. Okay. Let us maybe start on this end, our work, and work our way that way. Oh, bother. Hang on a second. Technical difficulties. Our second cup of coffee disappeared. All right. Seven Summers by Paige Toon. Hope you had a good night, Mary. Oh, how was your beating yesterday? That was yesterday, right? Yes, it was. 6 summers to fall in love, one summer to change it all. Liv and Finn meet 6 summers ago working in a bar. I would think that's met. 6 summers ago, working in a bar on the rugged Cornish coastline, their futures full of promise. When a night of passion ends in devastating tragedy, they are bound together inextricably. But Finn's life is in LA with his band, and Liv's is in Cornwall with her family. So they make a promise. Finn will return every year, and if they are single, they will spend the summer together. This summer, Liv crosses paths with Tom, a mysterious new arrival in her hometown. As the wildflowers and heather come into bloom, they find themselves falling for one another. For the first time, Liv can imagine a world where her heart isn't broken every autumn. Now Liv must make an impossible choice. And when she discovers the shocking reason that Tom has left home, she'll need to trust her heart even more. I like pink and orange together. That's definitely a summer vibe. Swap and Smell the Roses, a romantic comedy. The Swap #1 by Karen Booth. And then I'm not going to beating, wasn't feeling well and decided I needed to stay home. You got to listen to what your body and intuition are saying. Did work on some things here though. Made 4 pairs of earrings and 4 necklaces. Wow. Yes, productive day. When Willow Moore's lifelong dream of music stardom goes bust, she's burned out enough to need drastic change, as in she's trading her Brooklyn apartment for 2 months in the Connecticut countryside. Soon she's baking bread, spending Saturdays at the farmer's market, and stopping to smell the roses. But some things in her new #cottagecore life aren't so pleasant. Like her landlord, former chef Reed Harrell. As grouchy and reserved as Willow is chatty and outgoing, Reed is an annoyingly sexy keep out sign. If only Willow was good at staying away. Something about Reed, a sliver of pain poking through that flinty facade, makes her wonder if they're more alike than she thought. Reed, you are also prickly and grumpy. Reed once chased success too, and found it at a price. Now all he wants is to be left alone to garden. But Willow's not giving up so quickly. Adverb, please. Especially when one of their heated arguments sparks an idea for a song. Her renewed creativity awakens them both, hurling them into a passionate vortex neither expects. As the summer winds down, Willow is forced to confront her needs, wants, and desires, not to mention Reed, the hardest puzzle of all to figure out. Not to mention, the guy that's involved here. Maybe it's time for the city girl to stop dwelling on dreams dashed and start following her heart, no matter where it may take her. Dot, 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 dot. Wild About You by Caitlin Hill. That's a pretty cover. I have a show on Saturday, so I'm trying to restock a little. It is outdoors, so I'm crossing my fingers the weather stays nice. Oh, indeed. Oof. Two total opposites, one race through the great outdoors. Natalie Hart has always been loud, unfiltered, and unapologetically herself. But then comes her freshman year of college when she loses her merit scholarship and gains one pesky little anxiety diagnosis. Hesitant to take out more student loans, Natalie decides to shoot her shot and applies to Wild Adventures, a popular outdoorsy reality show. Sure, Natalie prefers her 12-step skincare routine to roughing it on the Appalachian Trail, while competing in challenges against other college kids, but that scholarship prize money is calling her name. High risk, high reward, right? Enter Finn Markham. Finn apparently is the cool name these days. Her randomly assigned capital O outdoorsy teammate whose growl could rival a black bear. These partners have more friction than a pair of new hiking boots. Or is it flirtation? Turns out falling in love might be the wildest adventure of all. Dot, 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 dot. Savor It by Tara DeWitt. Summer won't last forever. Sage Bird has lived in the coastal town of Spruance, Oregon, not to be confused with Forks, Washington, her entire life. She's learned to love her small town with the misfit animals on her hobby farm and her friendships with the town's inhabitants. But when her 5-year relationship ends and her ex, town golden boy Ian, suddenly gets engaged, girl, he wasn't that into you apparently for after 5 years. Sage needs a win, something that will convince everyone to stop pitying her all the time. I don't pity you, or never mind. And to put Ian in his place. The Festival of Spoons, the town's annual summer competition, would be the perfect opportunity. She just needs a partner. Fisher Lang, well, at least his name isn't Finn, was a hotshot chef. Oh, but he's a chef in New York City until the loss of his sister left him numb, grieving, and responsible for his teenage niece, Indy. When Fisher loses his Michelin star along with his love of cooking, his boss sends him and Indy to Spoons on a much needed summer sabbatical to consult on a restaurant opening. But when clashes with the townspeople threaten his last chance to redeem himself, and a kiss with his new neighbor Sage leads to dating rumors, a strategic alliance might just be the best way to turn things around. A deal is struck. Sage will improve Fisher's image in the eyes of the town and remove the roadblocks he is facing with the restaurant, and Fisher will be Sage's partner for the competition. But as their pact quickly turns into steamy rendezvous, emotional wounds begin to heal, and the pair tries to savor every moment. They start to realize that summer is racing by much faster than they would like. Dot, dot, dot. Oh my goodness, Nora Roberts has a new one. Mind Games by Nora Roberts. What is this, her 612th book? Who knows? As they do each June, the Foxes have driven the winding roads of Appalachia. Oop, another one of those, to drop off their children for a 2-week stay at their grandmother's. Here, 12-year-old Thea can run free and breathe in the smells of pine and fresh bread and Grammy's handmade candles. But as her parents head back to suburban Virginia, they have no idea they're about to cross paths with a ticking time bomb. Back in Kentucky, Thea and her grandmother Lucy both awaken from the same nightmare, and though the two have never discussed the special kind of sight they share, they know as soon as their tearful eyes meet that something terrible has happened. The kids will be staying with Grammy now in Redbud Hollow, and thanks to Thea's vision, their parents' killer will spend his life in Supermax. Over time, Thea will make friends, build a career, find love, but that ability to see into minds and souls still lurks within her. And though Grammy calls it a gift, it feels more like a curse because the inmate who shattered her childhood has the same ability. Thea can hear his twisted thoughts and witness his evil acts from miles away. He knows it and hungers for vengeance. A long, silent battle will be waged between them. Silent. Yes, it will be. They're just reading minds. And, and eventually bring them face to face and head to head. That's not really a romance. That's more like a thriller. What's it doing in the romance category? I don't know. Because it's Nora Roberts. There's probably a guy in there somewhere. And not the inmate. Malibu Summer by Libby Gill. Ivy Bauer is a young, bright soil scientist, inventor of a game-changing organic irrigation system. Heard. She's on top of the world when suddenly her husband is killed in a biking accident. Needing space to grieve, she takes a summer job as a gardener in Malibu, as one does. Conrad Reed is a wealthy Hollywood has-been who, after the death of his wife, feels overwhelmed by the care of his anxious stepson, Hudson, massive cliffside estate, and deteriorating career. He hopes Ivy will help take at least one thing off of his plate. But the bossy, opinionated Ivy isn't making things any easier for him. Sparks fly, and not the good kind. But it's when Ivy finds the key to Hudson's heart that Conrad's own heart begins to melt as well. And then the sparks that fly are the ones that kindle the best kind of love affair. Dot, 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 dot. Got all kinds of dots today, don't we? Sorry about that. Left that up. I need some coffee. Hang on. All these dots. All right, next up. What's it going to be? Finn? Appalachia? Appalachia? Never. I'm sure people there are just cringing. Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places by Claire Can. Claire Can. Lucky Hart has a special affinity for the supernatural, but almost no one takes parapsychology seriously. She's estranged from her family, lost her friends, and has been rejected from graduate school twice. But her big break finally arrives when she gets insider info about a troubled production company. Every actor on their new show mysteriously quits after spending 3 nights inside Hennessy House, an old Victorian with a notorious reputation. After scheming her way onto the show to investigate, Lucky meets Maverick Phillips, and chemistry instantly crackles between them. He tempts her in ways no one ever has, challenging and supporting her, and making her finally feel seen. Their connection is so palpable, everyone notices it, including Hennessy House. Now Lucky and Maverick's relationship has a challenger, the lonely sentient house, desperate for her undivided attention. As love begins to clash with career, Lucky refuses to choose one over the other. She's going to choose the house? Because everyone deserves a happily ever after, even houses with haunted hearts. But when all her plan, but he identifies as begin backfiring one by one, she realized that if she wants to have it all, she'll have to risk everything. Okay. The Gamble at Sunset, Betting Against the Duke by Vanessa Riley. Yay, a big dress cover. Georgia Wilcox, a wallflower with hidden musical talents, is furious when her reclusive older sister, the recently widowed Viscountess, refuses sorely needed help from the Duke of Torrance, the only gentleman who has shown kindness to the bereft Wilcox sisters. Georgina decides to get back at her sister and shock the Viscountess by kissing the first willing stranger she meets in the enchanting gardens of Anya House. Unfortunately, her sister is not the sole witness. A group of reporters and the town's leading gossips catch Georgina in a passionate embrace with a reticent composer, Lord Mark Sebastian. We'll have to get married now. The third son of an influential marquis, the tongue-tied Mark is determined to keep the scandal from ruining Georgina's reputation and his own prospects of winning the celebrated Halbert's Prize for music. Under the guise of private voice lessons, the two embark on a daring gamble to fool the Tone into believing that their feigned courtship is honorable while bolstering Georgina's singing genius to captivate potential suitors. Sexist cartoons, family rivalries, and an upcoming ball test the fake couple's resolve. Will their sudden fiery collaboration and growing attraction prove there's nothing false about a first kiss and scandalously irresistible temptation? I'm sorry, that author has not studied that time period very well. Bookshop Cinderella by Lauralee Kirky. Evie Harlow runs a quaint little bookshop in London, which is the biggest adventure an unmarried woman with no prospects could hope for. until Maximilian Shaw, Duke of Westbourne, saunters into her shop with a proposition. To win a bet with his friends, he'll turn her into the diamond of the season. The Duke might be devilishly attractive, but Evie has no intention of accepting his ludicrous offer. When disaster strikes her shop, however, she's left with little choice but to let herself be whisked into his high society world. Always happy to help a lady in distress, Max thinks he saved Evie from her dull spinster's life. He'll help her find a husband and congratulate himself on a job well done. But as shy Evie becomes the shining star he always knew she could be, she somehow steals his heart. And when her reputation is threatened, can Max convince her to choose a glittering aristocratic life with him over the cozy comfort of her bookshop? Cozy comfort, but not living very well in those times. Better Left Unsent by Leah Lewis. 2 years ago, 30-year-old receptionist Millie Chandler has had her heart spectacularly broken in public. Ever since, she has been a closed book, vowing to keep everything to herself, her feelings, her truths, even her dreams, in an effort to protect herself from getting hurt again. But Millie does write emails, sarcastic replies to her rude boss, hard truths to her friends, and of course, that 1,000-word love declaration to her ex, who is now engaged to someone else. The emails live safely in her drafts, but after a server outage at work, Millie wakes up to discover that all her emails have been sent. Every single one. As every truth, lie, and secret she's worked so hard to keep only to herself are catapulted out into the open. Girl, get a journal. Millie must fix the chaos her words have caused and face everything she's ever swept under the carpet. With her signature tender and heartwarming prose, Leah Lewis presents another unforgettable moving novel, but blah, blah, blah. Seriously, get a journal. Attached at the Hip by Christina Riccio. Survivor meets The Bachelor is how it's being described. Ori Lennox has spent her entire life prepping for her happily ever after, and now that she's graduated, she's low-key wondering when the heck is it gonna hit? Her love life, her new job, her relationship with her sister, none of it is quite what she envisioned it to be. Well, then do something. One evening, on a whim, she applies for a reality show where she'll be stranded on an island with a bunch of strangers to play a game of human chess for a shot at $1 million. What better way to force herself to break up with the things that aren't bringing her joy than to abandon them all on short notice to live off the grid on a beach in the South Pacific with cameras? Ori's shocked when she ends up cast in an experimental romantic edition of the show, and even more surprised to find that her old high school crush Remy has been cast as well. Ori's one of 10 contestants set to compete in formidable challenges while speed dating in the wilderness without deodorant, toilets, shaving cream, or showers. How? She finds herself tied up, literally, in a game of risky alliances as she navigates ever growing feelings for her one that got away, alongside an exciting array of budding new relationships. Summer Punchline by Betty Carello. Then, Delphina Silva Miller wants one thing: to leave behind Evergreen, New Jersey, and never look back. Despite her adoring grandmother's best efforts, Dell can't bear to live another moment at the whims of her deadbeat dad, so cliche, and her ever temperamental crush, Eddie Rodriguez, humiliating. Now, if there's one thing Dell knows how to do, it's spin her bad luck into a killer joke. After years of hard work, she's finally landed a coveted spot at a huge comedy festival, molding the often tragic raw material of her life into comedic gold. Joan Rivers very famously said, humor is pain, uh, or pain is humor. When Dell loses her job, boyfriend, and apartment in the span of a few hours, she's forced to pack her bags and return to the home she swore off at 18. Dell is determined not to let her history with Evergreen distract her. She has 45 days to perfect a new comedy set and march into her new life. Instead, she marches right into Eddie Rodriguez, but he's nothing like the boy she left behind 10 years ago. As the festival draws closer, Dell is faced with the terrifying possibility that everything she's ever wanted isn't as far away as it once seemed. Ruckus, Sinners of Saint, book number 2. No one has ever made Rosie LeBlanc feel more alive than the man who serves as a constant reminder that her clock is ticking. Dean Cole is her forbidden shiny apple, a stubborn fallacy against her blunt, raw truth. Because Rosie has an illness, cystic fibrosis. Sometimes she conquers it, but sometimes it conquers her. She knows she's more than her diagnosis, but she also knows she will not live a long, happy life with it. And the last thing she wants to do is start a relationship she knows is doomed to end in tragedy, least of all with her sister's ex-boyfriend. But the truth is, Rosie saw Dean first. She craved him first. She loved him first. And now, 11 years later, he's come waltzing back into her life, demanding a second chance. He sees her walls, and he's determined to smash them down, even with his own demons at play. He wants to be Rosie's white knight, whatever it takes, but he might just be too late. That is an interesting concept. The Heiress's Daughter by Annie Grace, third in the Brides of Bel Air Gardens. Heiress Clarissa Studley learns to be loved for more than her fortune. Warm-hearted but plain and shy, she wishes to marry, but has two firm rules: no rakes and no fortune hunters. And her father was both, and she'll never forget the misery he caused. So when Race Lord Randall starts to pay Clarissa attention, she knows she must keep him at a distance. Attractive and charming he might be, Race's reputation precedes him, and she's observed firsthand his flirtatious ways with London society beauties. But Race sees a beauty in Clarissa that others cannot, and for the first time in his life he is truly in love. And when a rival for Clarissa's affections appears, a handsome wounded war hero, heir to his great aunt's fortune, Race becomes desperate, as Clarissa seems tempted to make a safer, tamer choice. Can Race convince Clarissa that his love is true and that she can trust him with her heart? And can Clarissa put aside her unhappy past and follow her heart, despite the risk of loving a rake? We've run out of time, so we're just going to take a look at covers and authors here. The Lady Takes London. Now, the date here says January 2nd, 2079, which that's what it says everywhere. And now this one is saying June 2025. How bizarre. With Each Tomorrow, a romance series by best-selling author set in Montana with mystery and intrigue, The Jewels of Kalispell series by Tracy Peterson and Kimberly Woodhouse. Kalispell is north and west of me. Wish You Weren't Here by Christy Schillig. A woman spending a summer in Italy finds her world completely upended, but it may be the kick she's needed to figure out who she truly wants to be. And The Road Trip by Kate Tamborelli and Danny Tamborelli. Up-and-coming screenwriter Beatrix Noel's dream project is finally a reality. Her 90s-era script is in production. Les Dreamy is the A-lister actor in the starring role, none other than Rocco Rosario, who jilted Beatrix on New Year's Eve back in 1999. Without his celebrity status, the project would likely still be withering on her hard drive, but that doesn't mean Beatrix won't shame him at every opportunity on set, especially when it becomes painfully obvious he doesn't even remember her, etc., etc. All righty. That's what we got for romance this week. Sorry, I was trying to barrel through those. Family, big dresses. Yes, it's the sign. It's a sign. Finished Never Blow a Kiss last night. Awesome. It was okay, but not great. 2 out of 5. That's okay. You gotta have those every once in a while. Makes you appreciate the good stuff. Writing was a tad juvenile, in my opinion, and the plot was obvious. You wish authors would try harder. Mary, do I continue to journal? You were starting to make some, I think. Did I continue? I did not. It was just a huge time thing. Um, Maybe someday. It's all those I want to do. I need to be independently wealthy so I can do all the leisure activities I want to do. So I'm focusing on reading and crocheting right now. Not even beading these days. Like the cover of the Heiress's Daughter. Yeah. That was fast this morning. Hope to see you later. Indeed. All righty. That is what we have. Again, no sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesdays, but we will have them tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the fantasy and science fiction that are being released into the wild this week. I hope you have a very good Wednesday. Please take care of yourselves. Read good books. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Have a good day and God bless.